So it was tougher this year to put together this presentation. Do I ignore what's happened in the last couple weeks? I'd like to, but it doesn't seem very authentic. But on the other hand, to dwell on it doesn't seem very inspirational. So it took me for a while, but I think I've come up with a way to do both. Not dwell on the past, not dwell on the last 2 weeks, and hopefully be a little bit inspirational. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my answer to 3 questions. Why do I do this for Livestrong? What are my plans for the future for Livestrong? And what do I think of Lance? I've told people for years being 5, as I've raised money for Livestrong, that when it came up, that it was not about Lance. And for those of you who know a little bit about my story, it wasn't even about cancer to start out, it was just about staying in shape. But as I thought about fundraising this year and thought back what really got me started, I was surprised to find out that it really was Lance. In 2004, my wife and I were spending our nights in July sitting on the couch watching the tour. Now when those guys were going up and down the mountain, I was about 20 pounds heavier, had put on maybe 700 miles on my bike at that stage of the game, and while they were biking, I was eating Oreo cookies. Now for those of you who are health conscious, I want you to know that I only use organic peanut butter on my Oreo cookies. But sometime in week 3, I don't remember exactly when, the time trial went up Elk D'Huez. And most of you know the rest of the story, but for the 2 people here that don't know it, it was an individual time trial. Lance won it. He went 10 miles in less than 40 minutes and climbed over 3,500 feet. If you do the math on that, that's over 15 miles an hour, and he climbed 3,500 feet. I ride 15 miles an hour on a flat road with a strong tailwind. It was amazing. And after the show was done, I said to my wife, I'm going to climb Elk D'Huez on my 40th birthday. At the time I was 38. I figured I had 13 months to train, I could do it. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because Elk D'Huez is still on my bucket list. I got the opportunity. My dad wanted to ride across the U.S., and I thought, hey, I've got 30 or 40 years to ride Elk D'Huez, and I only have a few more years to ride with my dad, so I did that instead. But it was during one of those rides that I got sucked into Livestrong, and I went to the Portland event 5 years ago, heard Jimmy's story, and I've been raising money and preaching Livestrong ever since. I'm not going to read you my whole fundraising letter, but I do want to read you the last paragraph. In the future, I'll have to change my story a little bit because Lance is the one that started me down the Livestrong path. His inspiration, however, is not what keeps me going. I am inspired by every person who touches me at Livestrong. The staff inspires me with their enthusiasm no matter the hour or the topic. The survivors inspire me with their courage. Those who have run out of time inspire me with their legacy. It is because of these people, like Lori, that I will continue to support Livestrong. So that's the answer to my question on why do I do Livestrong. Now what about my commitment for the future? Well, believe it or not, I'm not actually very competitive. I've always been more interested in success than who gets credit. I don't know where that comes from, it's just always been there for me. But there's one exception to that. For some reason, when somebody tells me that I can't do something, I just see red. And the experts, I don't know who the experts are, but the experts right now are writing and saying that Livestrong will take a financial beating in 2013. I don't know how that makes you feel, but here's my response. That's bullshit. So I committed to Doug actually a couple months ago that even though I've always tried to hit 100,000, I've never made it. But next year when I come back here, I will have raised $200,000 for Livestrong. Now I said I wasn't competitive. I'm competitive with the experts. I don't know who they are. I'm not competitive with you. And to prove that, I want to let you know that on October 1 of 2013, if any of you are within $10,000 of whatever I've raised, I will donate $11,000 and you can do the speech next year. So the last question, what do I think of Lance? Well, if you talk to him, he'll tell you, I don't know Lance. I watch him from afar at these events, and I read in the newspapers whatever they write, and that's about it. As I was doing my fundraising letter, though, for this year, I knew that I had to address Lance at some stage of the game. Now, the letter that I wrote in August could have easily been written 2 days ago or 2 weeks ago. And at the bottom of my fundraising letter, I have 2 paragraphs, and they're titled, Jeff's Opinion of Lance, the super short version. And next to those 2 paragraphs, which I'm going to read in a minute, is a picture of Lance. And the picture, I'll describe a second, you'll recognize it immediately. It's Lance coming out of a humongous cloud of dirt. And on his right elbow is a big bandage, and there's a motorcycle behind him, and he's got a grimace of pain on his face, and he's covered in dirt. So next to that picture, here's what I wrote. Does this look like someone who gives up? This picture was taken at the end of stage 3 of the 2010 tour. Partway through 14 miles of cobblestones, Lance blew a tire. After a bike switch, he had lost 2 minutes and ended up behind the support vehicles. All was lost. No 8th tour win. No podium finish. Almost 3 more weeks of racing. He put his head down and made up a full minute just because he could. We all get to choose what we think of Lance. I choose to think about the man who avoids adults like me, but gives his undivided attention to someone with cancer. He is amazing with kids. I choose to think of an awesome competitor who knows how to assemble a phenomenal team and who understands the leadership mantra, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. Now that's most of my answer of what I think about Lance. And in conclusion, I'll tell all of you the second part of what I think about Lance, but fortunately I can't see him because I've never been able to rehearse this even in front of a tree without getting stuck. But really, Lance, these next few words are just for you. I don't need anything from you. I don't need your time. I don't need you to be a hero. I don't need you to keep fighting. I don't need you to quit. I don't need anything. But no matter what happens tomorrow or what happens next week or next month or next year, I want you to know that if you ever need it, there is a guy in Michigan who rides a bike so slow that it's sometimes hard to determine what direction he's going, that would like to be your friend. And that's what I think of Lance Armstrong.